Evening, Jordan. Hope you're well.
Yeah, I'm not bad, thanks.
Good, good. So, been a long time since I've seen you, mate. And so, for those of you that are watching, it's National Apprenticeship Week, and Jordan Clark is one of my pioneering community sport and health officer apprentices. We'll go into a bit more detail about that later on. But thanks for giving up your time, Jordan. So, what I'm keen to get from today's conversation really is about your journey before, during, and after the CSHO and sort of the benefits of attending the program. So, if you're able to sort of give us a bit of an insight into before the level three CSHO.
Before I did, um, I was like interested in sport. I did PE at GCSE, and then was going to go to college and do a sports course there. I ended up staying on for sixth form and doing a sports A level instead. And then I wasn't sure what I wanted to do after kind of sixth form. Um, I wasn't too sure on uni yet. I just come out of obviously many years of education. Um, and I wasn't too sure what I wanted to do. And I heard about the apprenticeship through public health and kind of through mutual contacts. So I kind of followed it as it was being developed and as it was going through like the first few stages. And I applied and it kind of just went from there, to be fair.
Okay, so add a bit more context to the story. I started with Aspire in the September. Well, actually, I think it was the October, November of 2018. It's
It
been a
was,
while. And during that phase, the CSHO program was very, very new. And I believe Aspire Training Solutions were obviously successful in gaining the opportunity to work with yourselves. And I remember being excited by the fact that it was a new opportunity, not only for myself, but for apprenticeship. So I officially took over from your group in the Christmas and January following on. But throughout the apprenticeship, then, do you feel it was the right decision you made in terms of gaining that practical experience and linking it within the education?
yeah, definitely. I think the practical and on the job work was the main thing for me that kind of drew me towards it. So I didn't know what I wanted to do, but I didn't want to do nothing either. So I didn't want to get stuck in a dead end job in retail or something else and kind of be stuck doing that. I wanted to get another qualification and get that work experience at the same time. So I think the apprenticeship was really good at doing that. I learned a lot about kind of the qualities it takes to be in a workplace so formal as a school and kind of the qualities as a sports leader as well.
Okay, so with that in mind, then obviously I know the program grew and developed, and I think we all learned during the first year of the CSHO program, and it helped me massively. But would you say there was any particular knowledge, skills, and behaviours, and I'll explain what those are later on and the benefits of those that you really, really picked up on from the apprenticeship, and obviously the additional support that you had from myself and the other guys at Aspire?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing was it was kind of drilled home that, what you put in is what you take away. And it kind of taught me how to motivate myself into doing that as well. If I kind of just gave half my effort and kind of dragged myself through without putting as much in, I don't think I'd have got as much out of it at the end. Whereas at the end, obviously, I have all those knowledge, skills, and behaviours that was discussed at the beginning of the apprenticeship. So like the workplace etiquette, working as a team, all that kind of stuff, kind of really settled in then.
Okay, and obviously you've had the experience of undertaking both an apprenticeship and obviously a college course, and obviously me being you, well, ex-tutor, let's say, would you say like the support you've received during your apprenticeship was different to maybe what you may have experienced at college or similar?
Yeah, it's definitely different. You're particularly yourself, you go above and beyond, and like if ever anyone needs anything, you're there. Like you're on the other end of the phone, you're just a message or an email, and you're pretty quick to reply. So if you need that support in the workplace, you're there for people. And obviously, in terms of like the written work and stuff, it wasn't so much like hold your hand and spoon feed you the information. It was guidance and support that we needed, and to be able to do it ourselves.
Well, it's nice to hear that, and obviously I haven't paid you for those of you that are watching. But I think the key thing that I found interesting about apprenticeships, because I've obviously heard of them and I've come across them in previous roles, but this was the first role that I was solely responsible of creating with an ex-colleague, like the schemes of work and the assessment criteria, and sort of guiding you through it. And I think I've seen at first hand the balance of receiving some detailed specific support, as well as the opportunity for you to grow both personally and develop moving forwards. But do you think that has prepared you for what's happening within your apprenticeship at the time?
Yeah, definitely. I think it definitely, regardless of the qualification, it was the personal qualities that I took away from it that really helped and have really helped me develop as a person.
Okay, so I think you sort of thrown another question in there for me, and I'll probably add a bit more clarity for those who are watching. But I think the one thing that I was very impressed with you is that your attitude and your mindset, and sometimes you were quite raw in a good way. That you wanted to learn, and you would accept your areas of development. But from the CSHO apprenticeship at the time, we obviously had networks and associates that we collaborated with. What other benefits would you say that you received from the program in terms of helping you grow personally and professionally?
I think the biggest thing is the motivation. Like you said, that kind of passion for learn that I had, I didn't have that before the apprenticeship. During my GCSEs, my A levels, it wasn't there. It wasn't there. That kind of passion for learning it didn't click with me until I started the apprenticeship and I was able to do it practically. I think that was the biggest thing. And now I've gone on to university. That kind of passion has stuck with me, and I've learned, like, okay, I'm going to get out what I put into this.
Yeah, I mean, for me, just to give those that are watching and listening a bit more context into Jordan, I think he's been quite modest, is throughout the apprenticeship, obviously, I started to learn more about the individuals on the course. I started to get to know their passion points, their aspirations and dreams. And with Jordan, you could clearly tell there was a very, very old head on young shoulders, and wanted to know strategically what was happening, personally and professionally. And I recommended Jordan through one of our partners at Connect Ed, for Jordan to sit on their board, because I thought it was really important to share the voice of apprenticeships and the person undertaking the apprenticeship. Because the one thing that I'm very passionate, even now, that whoever I teach, you guys as apprentices have a voice. You're entitled to that, and you have the opportunity to grow. And I think you took that with both hands. You've had potential networks with other external organisations across Wolverhampton, the Black Country, obviously connected with that, and those relationships have helped you do stuff away from the apprenticeship. So throughout the apprenticeship, I know you were very forward thinking and mindful of what's next and planning ahead for that. Do you think the support you receive from us, as well as your peers and mentors, helped you sort of really think and clarify what you wanted to do next?
I think Aspire themselves definitely helped. I think it was a big, it doesn't really matter whether you choose to stay on the school. It doesn't matter if you choose to move on. Whatever it is that you want to do, they will support you. And that was the biggest kind of thing that drove me to university. Is like, okay, I can do it, and I can go, and that kind of passion for learning, as I said before, was there because yourself and Aspire have kind of put that into me and helped me grow.
Yeah, I mean, that's good to hear. And obviously, being your ex-tutor, and I'll come on to sort of like the mentorship and friendship, after the program, and how that's benefited you personally and professionally. But I think the key thing that I've picked up on since my time at Aspire Training Solutions is the genuine care that we have for learners. And obviously, I can only speak for myself, is that I think it's really important, whether you're on a traineeship, apprenticeship, college, every course, university that I've been to, I think people that invest in you, and it's open and honest and transparent, it's not fake. I've seen how much you've grown personally, and that's a reward in itself. So as COVID-19 came along, how did you think you and we adapted to supporting you in your needs towards your endpoint assessment?
It kind of, as with everything else, still is. It's all moved online now. Just as we were going through the endpoint assessment, so all the calls were taking place online, and there wasn't much face-to-face support, but we were still kept in the loop. And even though we weren't having our regular meetings, it was still an email to say, "Oh, this is happening," and "Oh, I've got an update on this." Whenever you knew something, we knew, and it kind of helped us stay informed and keep up with what was happening.
And with that in mind, then, do you feel the training received and the on the job experience, do you think that was relevant and preparing you for what was required for the endpoint assessment?
The kind of day-to-day tasks that you do without even realizing it, if you actually look at the endpoint assessment and look at what you've been doing, it's like, okay, I have done that and I have done this. It's just finding them, and you do it without realizing it a lot of the time.
Yeah, and that's something that I still drum into the learners I work with now. And I think the key thing is that you're my first very cohort, and I still get emotional when I talk about my first group. There's lots to learn from that program. And I think for us, Aspire with the CSHOs and apprentices, and so much has grown and developed since then. But I think the key thing that I still carry with me is that how you treat learners and sort of value them. And I think that's the one thing I've really liked about apprenticeships, because I was a bit unsure, Jordan, before, because I went down the college route, and part of me wishes if apprenticeships were available, I think I might have gone down that route. No, not might, I would have. So as the time's nearing your endpoint assessment, and and I'll come on to what grades you got in a minute, do you think you received support in terms of what's next after the apprenticeship and sort of beyond the decision you've made?
Yeah, definitely. I think, obviously we're still in contact, and it's why I'm here today. Is that it was that support afterwards, and it is that that kind of aftercare, if you will, that I really liked about Aspire, and I really liked about the apprenticeship, is that pretty much anything that you needed, it was there, and the support is there when you ask for it. It's just a case of asking.
Yeah, I mean that's obviously nice to hear, and I think it just echoes what I was saying earlier about how we care for our learners. And I mean across that cohort, there was lots of success. A lot of people went on to university, part-time employment, full-time employment amongst the schools they worked with. And what I was particularly keen to sort of get from you is a lot of CSHOs are probably thinking about what's next and their decision. And you've openly said, you received a lot of support, but university wasn't necessarily on the cards for you during our many conversations. And it was a pleasant surprise when I found out. And as you can see in the background on your poster, the anatomy. And so do you honestly think the apprenticeship sort of maybe taught you the knowledge, skills and behaviours for university, regardless of the course you went on?
Yeah, I definitely think it is. I think university is a much more self-driven style of learning, which is similar to what the apprenticeship was. I still have once a week face-to-face meetings like you do on the apprenticeship, for that support and for that guidance. But yeah, I think that kind of self-motivation and that passion for learning that's drilled in through Aspire is what enabled me to go on to do the course that I am doing now.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it was a great success. The first cohort, I was panicking, and but I think that trust and transparency that not only me and you had, but all the other learners on program, that support is pretty much 24/7, if and when needed. But I think the thing that I hold fondly for me is kind of the family environment that we all created, and that's something that I try and do now within all our apprenticeships. And it's really, really good that a lot of you've progressed, as I said, onto full-time employment or further education. And I know Jordan's very modest, and he wouldn't necessarily say this, but when he first started, kind of potentially the barriers were up, and I had to sort of do what I do naturally and work and be transparent. He's quite a good drawer, Jordan. He's very good at doodling. within lessons. But no, joking aside, as time went on, the personable approach that we all had, we actually knew associates and family members from other projects, and that's something that I'm quite keen for the CSHO program. And do you think that helps you prepare for like other avenues of training and education away from Aspire, let's say, like Russ Smith, for example, or at Marathon?
Yeah, we did end up sharing, or we still do end up sharing a lot of the same contacts, a lot of the same networks. And it was like, oh, I'll go to that event because I know so and so and so and so. So I ended up like every opportunity I could to go to a networking event or a training event, I was taking, regardless who was presenting it. As long as it was relevant, I was there, and I was, making these connections and networking with other professionals in the sports industry.
Yeah. And, to add more context to that, Jordan was presented with many opportunities, and a lot of them were self-managed by Jordan through the support network that I have. And, obviously, the area of work at the time, the Black Country, through my own experiences. But I think Jordan really took it upon himself to, and this is something we echo and advocate on the apprenticeship program, that, like Jordan said earlier, what you put in is what you get. And before COVID, there was a time where we were, I still reminisce that we should have been going to Tanzania, and Jordan was very proactive and wanted to sign up and attend and raise a, pronounce this right, phenomenal amount of money to go. And I think that just shows the journey that you've been on, both personally and professionally. So yeah, you're near the end of the apprenticeship. You undertake your assessments, and Jordan, to date within Aspire, achieved 3 distinctions out of 4, a possible 4, for the endpoint assessment process. And for those of you that for the CSHO program, Jordan, I don't know if you're able to break down, I suppose, what happens throughout the course in terms of preparing you for that. And admittedly, a lot has changed since you've been on, but how the assessment process works, and was the training you received from me and us relevant for you in the EPA process?
I feel like the endpoint assessment was quite a while ago now. It seems like so far away, even though it was only last year with everything that's gone on. As I said before, a lot of it you end up doing without realizing. So when it comes to writing the reflective accounts that we had to do at the end, it was looking back at the questions going, okay, everything's starting to click in place, and everything, I have been doing this. It's just realizing that you've been doing that almost.
Yeah, I mean, for me, and Jordan completed 7 reflective accounts, and I'll go into more detail about that. You either write a minimum of 5 or maximum of 10, but we always say 7 because of the amount of great work the CSHOs undertake. Jordan also had to deliver a PowerPoint based on one of his reflective accounts, and Jordan achieved distinction for that. Case study challenge, which is deemed one of the harder assessments, and that's based on some of the challenges that Jordan had faced within his role. And then the panel interview, which is based on the assessment plan and the lived and worked experiences in and out of the course, and the work-based observation, which you achieved a pass. But overall, to get 3 distinctions out of 4, and I suppose how you've grown personally and professionally, is a testament to your mindset, really. So obviously you've passed the course, you decided to go on to university, and what would you say the key messages are from, I suppose, the program, and why do a CSHO apprenticeship, or why do an apprenticeship in general?
I think like the main reason to do an apprenticeship is that on-the-job training. It prepares you for work life after your qualifications. You learn so many qualities to develop you personally, and the support that you guys give, like the additional reading and stuff. If you do it, like you suggested the mind chimp paradox to me, so I've read that and really taken that on board, and that really helped during my job and then after the job as well. So it's not just about those those one-on sessions and the work that you do within the schools. It's about that outside reading and that extra stuff that you put in as well. It really helps when you get to the end.
Yeah, and then I really appreciate that, and it's something that we still value now. And as I said, since you finished your apprenticeship, the whole program and package has grown massively, and I think they're the key messages, Jordan, really, that you've shared throughout this conversation. Is what you put in is what you get out, because all of us at Aspire Training Solutions, we do go above and beyond. We do care for our learners, and you're just one of the successful stories of how people have grown and developed. But that's pretty much concluded our conversation, Jordan. As always, it's good to speak and see how you're getting on, and hopefully you're taking note of your anatomy picture in the background. But
Yeah,
it's I think for me it's a great journey. Seeing someone start a program and finish it and grow personally and professionally, getting the experiences from that. And I think it's the positive network you build from it. I'm still in contact. Obviously, your stepfather, and admittedly, before COVID, we were using the site to work and deliver from, and that just became from our network and our relationship, really. But George, once again, thank you for sharing your thoughts and your time on the apprenticeships, and in particular with Aspire Training Solutions. All the very best for the rest of your semester at university, and I look forward to seeing what's next.
no, thank you very much. It's been a pleasure.
No worries. Thank you.